In this video, I'm going to show you my really simple home scale electric fence setup that I use for protecting my chickens. At any one time, we'll typically have between 3 and 5 chickens. We just keep them for home egg production, home composting, and because we like them. So we've always got a few chickens in the chicken coop. The biggest problem I've had with keeping chickens safely in our chicken coop is actually my own dogs. So we do have foxes around, but the dogs also take care of those foxes. And so really it's my dogs I have to prevent from hurting my chickens. Now we are doing all the training etc. to get the dogs used to chickens, but one of them just has a very strong prey drive, and if I'm honest, I don't think she'll ever be safe around chickens. And so the simplest solution we've got is an electric fence. Electric fences are really great for this purpose, and dogs, being really smart animals, learn really quickly, and I don't think either of my dogs has been zapped more than once by this fence. Every single electric fence needs 3 things to work. You need an energizer, you need a powered wire, and then you need an earth, which in this case is the green wire connected to the steel post that goes into the ground. So earth, powered wire, energizer. And so it actually works by sending pulses of current down from the positive terminal and into the hot wire, your fence. And so if the target animal touches that electric wire, they ground it out because they're touching the ground. And obviously the ground from the energizer, this green wire, is connected to the post and it is hammered into the ground. And so when the animal touches that wire, the circuit's complete and they get a zap. The energizer can be powered typically in one of 3 ways. So you can have it powered through mains power, which is where you plug it in to your power outlet wherever you've got electricity available, and it'll convert that power from your mains into a really high voltage, low amperage power source. High voltage is what you're after for the zap. Amps makes it dangerous, so it's low amps, high voltage. And so that's a mains powered energizer, but they also can be powered by batteries, and a lot of farmers will use battery powered ones out in their field and they'll just replace the batteries every so often. And then thirdly, they can be solar powered. Now solar power obviously has to charge something, so these are technically battery powered as well. And I've got a little solar unit here. It's got a battery inside it, and solar power powers that battery or charges that battery. I really like solar powered because I don't have to remember to change the battery like you do with battery powered, and I can also move it wherever I want. It just sits on this steel post. It's really convenient, and I've been able to move it around. For instance, we had some dogs visiting next door for a little while there, and our dogs weren't so friendly with one of the dogs, so it was really easy to just set it up and prevent any accidents. It also allows you to move your chickens around in a little paddock style system with some electric netting and things like that. It's just really useful on a small scale homestead. So I'll give you a little tour of my system. You can see I've mounted it off the actual post just because it was the closest solid thing to that end. But what I've used, see those little plastic insulators? They are extremely important. Your electrified wire cannot touch anything that conducts electricity. So if any weeds grow up against it, they conduct electricity. They've got water in them, and on their surface they'll conduct electricity, and they'll actually ground the wire out. So I use these little insulated mounts and an insulated connector where it connects onto the mount on the post, so that no electricity can flow out of the wire and it can't ground out. Obviously if the wire is grounding out because you've let the weeds grow too tall or because it's touching the fence somewhere, then that's where the circuit's going to form. It's going to form a circuit and the electricity will flow through there, but it's not going to zap your problem animal if they come along and touch the wire. It is good practice, if there's any possibility, that you put a little warning on for anybody that might come and lean against the fence. It can also serve as a bit of a visual signal if the wire's hard to see to your target animals. I've got one on either side of my chook pen just so people can see and they don't accidentally touch the fence if they forget it's there. They'll see this little yellow sign, hopefully. As we move along the fence, you can see I've had to insulate the wire where it goes underground so it doesn't ground out. So what I've done is I've used an insulated wire that's made for putting underground. And to make it really easy to run, and in case I ever need to change it, I've run it through conduit, which goes under my door where I need to be able to access the chook pen through, and then up the other side, and I've actually got it running behind this shed here. So obviously running that electric wire through that gap was going to be very difficult without it grounding out. And obviously no large predators entering through that side of the fencing anyway. So I've run it through conduit behind the shed, and we'll quickly scoot around. There's where I moved that pepino the other day, or removed that pepino the other day. And here I'm going to actually build some stacked up beehive mounts. So I'm going to have all my stingless beehives up against this shed. And so as we come around the other side, you can see that conduit and that insulated wire come out the other side of the shed. And then I've stripped the wire, I've tied it on just using a fencing knot, and it goes through another set of those mounting insulated mounts around the corner and up to where the fence, the electric fence, actually ends, just shy of that vetiver hedge you can see up the end there. I've actually mounted this at dog snout height for obvious reasons, high enough that I'm not going to have constant problems with weeds shorting it out, but low enough that I'm not likely to accidentally bump it. So far, this system has been 100% trouble-free. Now, obviously, even the smallest units have plenty of power for a fence this long. This is nothing. Okay, you can see my actual units, one of the smallest ones you can get, and it'll still power 2.5 kilometers. But keep in mind, that's the absolute limit. And having an energizer that's overpowered means when you do have a little bit of shorting out, if you don't get to the weeds, the fence is still going to work to a degree. But as those weeds touch the wire and each one grounds it out more and more, its effects will lessen. It'll be less effective. So that's my system. Works for me. Really simple. I honestly wish more people would consider an electric fence. Not just for chickens, but for lots of problems. I see on my local group people time and time again complaining about a dog that gets out, and it's just a problem that could be solved so easily and so cheaply with an electric fence. I made the mistake of commenting once, why don't you try an electric fence, or have you considered an electric fence? And someone took a bit of offence, not to be punny, and said it was a bit cruel. And well, maybe I'm crazy, but I think a dog that's allowed to get out over and over again and put itself in danger on busy streets and, hopefully not, but may eventually get hit by a car, I see that as a lot less responsible and a lot crueler than a cheap, simple, easy to set up electric fence. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.